Yeah, we're gonna recap and then.
Sorry, is it okay if I call you an almost paralegal, Sarah?
Yeah. No, well, I don't know what I don't have a job title.
You're paralegal adjacent.
You have to have like a certification, don't
Sure.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Legal assistant.
Legal assistant, there you go. She's the people's paralegal. This is like, it's in
Mommy said, yes.
In my publications, it's independent scholar. Because I'm not part of a university.
Independent scholar is like low-key kind of badass.
That's I changed my thing. It's in independent scholar, Sarah.
Independent scholar. That is the technical term if you don't have a university.
Well, hey, there you
go.
We'll see if anybody else comes in. Pop, pop. Whoa. I didn't advertise with Nags Live either. I'm real bad at that. Sorry. I just don't have motivation right now to do the whole self-promote. The less people looking at me cry, the better.
Like the whole YouTube thing, though, is still kind of... Yeah. Sounds like a smart people title. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people in my specific field now that I think about it. I think like half of the field of research in false confessions is like independent, like they're cops or something, or they're...
Right.
Yeah, so they're not like university people. Yeah, my co-author says he gets calls that are like, "Hi, I'm trying to find, Dr. my last name, but I can't figure out what university she teaches at." And he's like, "Oh, I can send stuff to her." Like, I'm just a person.
The University of TikTok, obviously.
Yeah, obviously, TikTok School of Law. Let's see. So
the tell.
Welcome, everyone. I'm seeing people like the whole thing just doubled. So I'm like, okay.
Hi, everybody. How's it going?
Hello.
We got, yeah. How's it going, everybody? We're going to talk about the tell today. So Sarah and I've kind of brought the community in because we need to talk about this. We need to explain, but also Britt has no idea what's going on. I am so far in it that I could talk about it in any direction. I have no idea where to start.
And I'm kind of medium in it.
Yeah.
I'm medium in the documents, so I'm going to try to bridge the gap.
I've been trying to watch Amy Griffin's interviews, partly because that's something I can do without like looking at a screen. Like I can listen. Just so everyone watching knows, I'm mid-trial prep, so I'm barely human. I have a full day trial July 8th, and then I'll be back to being normal. My baseline normal after that. But so I haven't read the book. I've seen a few interviews. I read the opposition to the demurrer, and I read the opposition to Penguin's pro-speech law. The anti-slap. So, and then the declarations I read.
So I'm going to try to give a very brief law overview of the lawsuit.
Okay.
So Amy Griffin wrote a book called The Tell. And in the book, The Tell, she is describing how late in her 50s, 35 years after she'd left school, whatever, or however long, she went to a glorified trip sitter, took MDMA, and then recovered memories during the session, possibly not even under the influence of the MDMA, about her
5 minutes in.
Like 5 minutes, 5 minutes in of her abuse in middle school. So, she took the MDMA and her brain was like, we're about to unlock some shit. I got you.
Meanwhile, she's never done drugs in her life. She claims the most she's done is pretend to take a hit off a joint in like her 20s.
And she didn't inhale.
Bill Clinton style.
Yeah, in the book they had to include, I didn't inhale. Yes.
Yeah. And I think Barack Obama famously said, "Of course I inhaled. That was the point." So
he was the people's
I love
president.
him even more. I didn't know he said that. I'm gonna go get my book because I feel like that's an important reference material.
Yeah, that'll be helpful. Okay, so she describes the book. Most of the book is her telling other people about her abuse and getting a very, to me, Hallmark-esque reaction of people supporting her and unconditionally believing her. And there's not a ton of drama in the book. I kind of did read a little bit more. Like I was reading this, and multiple times I thought, why is this a book? Like there's not a lot of conflict. There's not a lot of internal conflict. I was sort of like, is there a point?
It's like it should have been an essay. Like,
yeah,
right.
You know.
It does feel very LinkedIn post adjacent. So a big focal point near the end is that Amy has this link in her mind between these incidents of abuse and a girl she went to school with who she calls Claudia. And specifically, she recalls lending a dress to this girl, Claudia, and having some sort of vague, uneasy feeling about Claudia that she describes she had kind of at the time. And so anyway, so she, after recovering the memories of her being abused by a teacher that she calls Mr. Mason, according to Amy, she decides, I'm going to reach out to Claudia because I think Claudia might have also been a victim of this Mr. Mason. So they meet up, they go to a coffee shop. Amy does her kind of, I have to tell you what happened to me, which at this point she's done 20 times in the book. And Claudia is just like stony face.
This woman wanted nothing to do with her.
Right.
I can tell.
Yeah.
Even in the book, she does it. She kind of describes it nicely within the book, but I'll say when she goes through to describe the interactions later, it just ends up looking worse and worse for her. It's just the most awkward thing.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't know how you're supposed to react if somebody reaches out to you 35 minutes later and then shows up and says
35 years later.
Yeah. And says, you know, hey, I got raped at 12. What do you think? And they're like, I think I haven't talked to you in 35 years.
I think I thought we were just chatting over coffee, but okay.
So according to Amy, and this is where it gets a little specific, she and Claudia buy some postcards. They exchange the postcards. They agree to mail them to each other. They leave. And then like sometime later, Amy gets a postcard, and the postcard from Claudia says, I didn't have it in my heart to tell you the truth. Right? So a big thing in Amy's book is talking about how the MDMA has enabled her to kind of come to terms with this, realize, you know, this is something that happened, integrate it kind of into her a little bit, you know, like realize that, accept this about herself and move forward. And while she's not saying anything negative about Claudia, because I think she's kind of saying like Claudia is where she's at. That's what she's saying, right? Like she hasn't yet accepted it, or she's kind of in a different place. And Amy's just grateful that she had this experience and is kind of all of that. Okay. So she does this. She does the Oprah, whatever, book club, this bestseller, you know, this kind of thing. And then Jane Doe files a lawsuit. Why are you laughing? So then Jane Doe files a lawsuit. So Jane Doe is a woman who went to high school or went to middle school with Claudia. Jane Doe is saying that, with Amy, and Jane Doe is saying that Jane is Claudia. She's like, I am Claudia, and Amy is basing her description of Claudia off of me. But the difference is that Amy's experiences of being assaulted by this Mr. Mason, those things actually happened to me, and they happened with involving a teacher that was not Mr. Mason. So
Amy is potentially, if we take Jane Doe's story as real,
yes,
falsely accusing somebody of having done this to her.
Falsely accusing someone of having done this to her, stolen someone else's life story to put, you know, into her own life story to bulk up her memoir, but then also falsely insinuating or saying that Claudia.
We've got some Amarillo in the chat.
Oh my gosh.
Amarillo by morning.
Hi, Kristen. How's it going?
So there's some, yeah. So, okay. So what happens is so Jane Doe files a lawsuit, and she's basically saying, yo, you stole my life. And so what you do know is that like Amy filed an anti-slap motion saying, I want your evidence that I'm lying right now. I think also her counterclaim is very strongly worded. I think it's very much, there's a couple times I've gone back and forth on this. I can't tell. She's not outright saying, and she actually goes out of her way to say, she's not accusing Jane Doe of making up her own assault, but she does say like Jane Doe is lying about being assaulted by a teacher. And I'm like, well, how do you know that? Because you guys are talking about different teachers, right? Like, or that's what Jane's saying. So you can't really say that. She comes close to saying it though. So there's a very strong response. Her lawyers are it's giving Blake Lively. The lawyers are very like, we are going to do a very,
they are it's like frat boys versus like very like literally that's what it feels like, is like the kind like quiet like intellectuals versus a bunch of frat guys that are gonna make a big stink of this and drink like shotgun a beer in court, and like that's literally the vibes when you watch him in front of but the judge likes him. He's there in person, and I think that makes a big effect for Amy Griffin, is that there's in-person lawyers. And I feel like, I don't know, but they've not built the rapport that they need between Jane Doe's lawyers. And that's working against them.
And so anyway, so if you're, so Jane Doe in the last couple of days, if you guys saw part 1, this hadn't happened yet, but Jane Doe filed a response, and she has enclosed a bunch of declarations from various witnesses. And they're saying, there's somebody who says, I remember this incident when it happened in middle school. I remember helping her clean the dress. I used to work with her, and she has told this story before. Somebody else, and I think this is the one that's the most interesting, Jane Doe has claimed that she was contacted by a guy named Dominic Price, who was representing himself to be a talent agent. And she told him her life story. And she now believes that Amy Griffin may have solicited this person to reach out and have Jane Doe give all of her life story. And someone that is now written a declaration has said that they recall Jane telling her about this person. And they were like, are you sure this is legit? Like, but that means that somebody else kind of remembers that this agent was in contact with her. And yeah, I mean,
which is the craziest part of this story to me.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time around people who do drugs to open themselves up. So none of that. I live in Sedona. What do you guys want from me? But that to me all felt like, yeah, all right, that's something people talk about doing, right? Like using drugs experimentally to like help with their trauma. Fine. The fact that somebody allegedly called her and was like, hey, I'm a talent agent or something, right? Like I'm scouting for reality television. Isn't that what they said?
Yeah. Or I think they said they wanted the film rights. They wanted to make a movie about her life. And someone called and said, like, I've heard that you have an interesting life. Katie, there's different chats. So each of our channels have a different chat.
How do I get to my chat? What does that mean? There's different chats. I thought we were all
the we can see all the comments, but they can't see each other's comments.
What?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
How do I respond to people? So I want to let you guys know. So yeah, there's some people that are saying like this is false. It's a fiction story. It is not a fiction story. This was written as a nonfiction memoir attributed to Amy Griffin. However, and she has doubled down. It's a memoir, so it is not a fictional story.
Yeah, Isaac, this is something that Amy has said happened to her. And initially she was calling it like The Remembering, and Believe Me was the original title of the memoir. But she has,
And there are allegations, and we'll find out how true they are, hopefully, that somebody potentially working with Amy induced this woman to talk about her trauma so they then could write a memoir that's somebody else's trauma to sell drugs.
Yeah.
Like Amy is a glorified drug dealer in this scenario, just so we're all on the same page. Like she's a white lady version of Cruz that I used to buy from in college.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yes, like my understanding is that her husband has a stake in some of these type of companies that do this MDMA therapy, and they're trying to,
What document were you going to go over in this? Have you gone over Zach Rosenblatt's?
Not yet. No, I haven't done the declarations.
Okay, I think we should start off with Zach's because that's going to take a minute. And it's got some deets that I think a lot of people, I have not fully gotten through this. It's like 400 pages. There's no way I'll be able to get through it in this live. I may have to dip if you guys want to, but I mean, it goes through in the proposal. So Amy Griffin writes a proposal that she sent out, I'm assuming in shop, to multiple like publishers before like Penguin Random House and Dial Press purchased it. And attached to that is a letter to an editor. And so it's almost like a generic letter explaining why they decided to go for, and basically Amy answers all of the questions that she knows people are going to ask to her. And I feel like she calls this book a manifesto of, which to me is a telling and explaining of the Me Too movement, for one, of MDMA unlocking and helping her release repressed memories of this trauma. And, also just a way for her to just, trauma's a buzzword. It's this exciting. And you're like, that's kind of wild that the way that she had to pitch it just feels so icky. That
Right.
I understand the side of like an editor reading it going, how do I pitch this? How do I make money off of this? But also,
Yeah, Prickly says, I thought this was fiction. No. This is something that Amy is saying happened to Amy when Amy was in middle school.
yes.
Amy is very much saying that she took this MDMA and she recalled these things that happened to her.
Yes.
So.
And the lawsuit came into play when the New York Times investigated and started asking questions of classmates and identified a classmate that was like, that sounds like what happened to me. And they're starting to gather, maybe this was something that was passed around, or maybe it was something that other kids heard about, or maybe it is something that happened to Amy Griffin and this Jane Doe, and they're mixing up detail. But all of this happened so long ago. But Amy asserts that these very specific things happened to her that Jane Doe says happened to her, and details that maybe weren't able to be identified until Jane Doe talked to these talent agents, and those details were fished out of her.
Right. So should I read this letter to the editor?
This letter is wild.
Okay, so let's see. Dear editor, I have no reason to write this book. Nearly 3 years after the events you've just read about, and with the help of therapy, family, and friends, I've found power and freedom in the life I've rebuilt. I feel so fulfilled in my career running a firm that supports and invests in female-led businesses. I have so much love in my personal life as a wife and a mother of 4 children. And I feel so purposeful in my activism, working to make resources more widely available for survivors of sexual abuse. As high-profile friends in my network have reminded me, I am fortunate to have a life this rewarding and abundant, yet to have held on to my privacy and my anonymity. Why would I jeopardize that by inviting the intention that publishing this book would bring? And yet, I know that I must. Katie, who's calling you? I can't not write this book. Almost 6 years out from the rallying cry that marked the beginning of the #MeToo movement, our culture is still broken. 1 in 3 women experience some form of sexual violence in their lifetime, yet only 38% of survivors of childhood sexual abuse ever disclose that they were abused. Many will never disclose. A culture of shame and secrecy endures, although the epidemic is everywhere. Old cliches persist about the perpetrators of childhood sexual abuse. We teach our children to fear strangers, even though 90% of children who are victims of sexual abuse know their abuser. As I began to slowly share my story with people in my own life, I was stunned by how many of them volunteered their own memories of childhood SA. Some, like me, by teachers, and others by their own family members. As disquieting as this always was to learn, in their eyes, I felt the reassurance that I was not alone. And yet, our justice system is painfully ill-equipped to hold perpetrators accountable.
They got an RC plane.
Oh. Less than 1% of reported. I should have like a code. We can't say these words on YouTube, can we? Less than 1% of reported SAs lead to a felony conviction.
We looked it up, and we could if it was for like educational purposes, but ask people covering Laura Owens how the rules get applied.
Gotcha.
However YouTube wants to apply the rules, so we're probably better off to not
doing the coded language.
If somebody wanted to report us in mass, they could. Why anybody would want to report chill little us, I don't know, but haters gonna hate. hate.
That's exactly where my brain goes when you say that. Let's see. Okay. As
Wait,
discouraging.
Sorry, you're not allowed to say what? So we don't get reported?
You're not allowed to say grape, but without
Oh,
the G.
Or
Yeah.
essay or whatever.
I struggle with that sometimes because sometimes I'm like, just not say it, or I don't know.
But
That's
also, like, am I contributing to a culture where we don't take this stuff seriously by calling it grape instead of what it actually is? Like,
Right.
Yes, I 100% agree with that.
You just know there's got to be kids out there that somebody's offering them like juice, and they're like, "Do you want grape?" And they're like, "What?" Like,
that's a bad thing.
Honestly, it
6'7",
makes me feel
run
like
away.
that too. Like my face just goes, sorry, what flavor?
yeah, because
Yeah.
it's like yeah. Poor little 6'7", not knowing what words mean. Anyway, that's my baby name, Katie. It's SIXSEVON. 6'7".
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
So, as discouraging as the facts are about SA, something profound is happening in our culture, a shift in the way we talk and think about trauma and how it shapes our lives. Vander Kolk's The Body Keeps the Score, the first book I read after I recovered my own memories of trauma, has now spent over 150 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list, 27 of those weeks at number 1. A pioneering study at Kaiser has shown that childhood trauma is linked not only to depression, anxiety, and substance use later in life, but to everything from broken bones to cancer. As I write this, Australia has become the first country to legalize MDMA, the medicine I took, alongside psilocybin, the chemical found in, quote, magic mushrooms, as treatments for PTSD. Studies have shown that 2/3 of people with PTSD no longer meet the criteria for it after treatment with psychedelic-assisted therapy. Thanks to the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies, or MAPS, the same program that my husband John has been supporting for years now, it's likely that America isn't far behind. We are coming to understand that there's a powerful link between trauma and our own health, that it can be carried in the body and manifest in countless ways, as it was for me. Trauma has become a buzzword, a cultural lightning rod. The issues that I'm writing about in my personal story that felt so unbelievable and specific to me as it was unfolding are sadly far from niche. This may be the defining subject of our era. And yet trauma remains so poorly uneducated and so stigmatized. No wonder we keep it repressed. When I was growing up, people didn't talk about breast cancer because it was considered crude to say the word breast. That's kind of what we're saying with the
booby boob, breasts, boobs. But like, think about like, yeah, just titties all day, titties in the wind. It's fine.
Yeah. Oh, Jen.
The taboo around sexuality kept us from talking about a medical condition, as it still does today. Likewise here, the actual trauma itself, the abuse that so many of us endure, is still in the shadows, something people just don't talk about if they can even access the memories at all. As one friend put it to me, how can you say me too if you can't remember what happened? From the moment I began recovering my own memories, I knew that someday I would write about it. In fact, at the end of my first session, I made, name redacted, promised me that if anything bad happened to me, she would tell my story. That's how important it was to me that this story be told.
From the moment I was contacted by the drug companies who were experimenting with MDMA, I knew that I would utilize my famous friends to write a story in order to sell my drugs.
I mean,
sorry, my paraphrasing here.
I began writing myself as soon as I came out of the session, first by hand, in that navy blue journal that read Pleasant Dreams on the cover, and later on an iPad not connected to the cloud, so I could be sure nobody but me would ever see it, where I spent night after night pouring out all that I was processing. It became a refuge for me, this place where I could be open and honest, if only with myself, about the pain and fury and shock and confusion that continued to ripple through me over the weeks and months that followed. Writing made what happened concrete. It preserved it in the record. It could not be rescinded. It was the only way to sift through the wreckage of this unbelievable reckoning. I was an English major in college, and it was there that I first learned to write for others. For the first time, I found I was writing for me. The real story is that I didn't know my story. I wrote days after my first session. My body didn't let me know the story. Yet to me, even more unbelievable than the abuse itself was the fact that I had so successfully erased it from my memory. Some incredulity lurked under the reactions I was met when I began slowly to share my story with people I loved. They too found it hard to believe. Most knew me well enough not to say what they were thinking. Why didn't you tell anyone? How are you just remembering it now? How did no one notice? And wait, what is this drug you took? Any hint of skepticism in someone's voice made me furious. Eventually,
I feel like needs to be pointed out. Made her furious.
Yeah.
Any hint of somebody questioning her, and she talks about like with her daughter too, like when her daughter's like, Mom, that she would like, so it sounds like almost like her anxiety is presenting in an angry, like rageful way of like any hint of skepticism in someone's voice made her furious. Eventually, I would come to understand that even deeper than the wounds of the abuse itself was the wound of how the perpetrator had like, so she again is deflecting and saying he was isolating her in that way by making sure that nobody believed her.
Mm-hmm.
Which it's a mind it I think the very hard part about this is I think she is very well read and very well researched on victims and on abuse. And I think that almost regurgitating being the perfect victim. You know what I mean? Of like,
And yeah,
why I react. This is when my daughters became the same age as I was when I was abused. That's why, and it's so common apparently that's normal. And so it's all just like she almost is too well read and too well, you know.
I
What
mean,
stood out to me too was like the way her daughters have this like textbook perfect reaction. Everybody in my life, in my perfect little buttoned up life, is responding in a way that you would dream about.
Yeah.
Right? They
This is-
all are perfect.
this is why when she says they too found it hard to believe, this isn't in the book. This isn't in the book. Like, if anybody doubted her, she never like, there's one detective who says it's like the most credible story he's heard.
And I'll tell you that conversation they had together, he offered up more than she did. Like he was contributing more to like I think trying to establish and build rapport a little bit, but I think he did a lot more talking than listening, I feel like, than he maybe should have. But I don't know. That's just from my own experience and
Do we have the police report somewhere?
No, I requested it and there is no record. And I called the detective and I talked to the detective and he confirmed for me, yeah, good luck requesting public records. There is no record. However, we found records of their phone call because Amy Griffin produced a transcript of their phone call, meaning that she must have recorded it or had some sort of transcript produced when she first called them. And in that transcript, we learned that her parents called the DA and the DA called the SVU detective. And that's how the SVU detective so he kept saying, this didn't come to me through the normal chain of command. Now, I'm not sure how she came to come and explain all of this and going through all of it. And so it was a lot. And so when I called the detective and talked to him, this was back, I'd have to look at the dates. It was back on like May 15th. I bet he has, Donnie. So Donnie and Kristen are Amarillo, very outspoken online on Facebook, where a lot of this is coming down and around. Donnie and Kristen was actually a classmate of Amy and Jane Doe's.
Oh, whoa. Welcome, you guys.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you for
And
joining
her
us.
husband, they've just been kind of very skeptical from the beginning, but they've been very outspoken on certain channels. So they're here watching. But what I'll say is when I spoke to the detective, he confirmed that there were a lot of people calling him and asking questions more recently. Like anytime I talked to somebody, I felt like I was on the heels of a private investigator in the area because they'd be like, did you send somebody to my house? Did you, somebody knocked on my door asking the same questions. Like, was that you? And it was not me. I'm just,
So you're turning over the same stone somebody else is.
Correct. And so when I talked to the detective, he made it clear that someone through deceptive means was trying to manipulate him to get information out of him, and he caught on to it. And so when I cold called him, he was like, "Who are you? Why are you calling me? I need to know." And I was like, I'll tell you what, I'm not trying to, like, I'll tell you who I am. I trust the police. Like, I just try not to tell the internet my full situation because I don't, you know what I mean? But
right.
I'll tell you all the stuff. You just let me know what you need. But he said there was multiple people that had called him. He was very distressed, very upset at the time. So, yeah. it was an interesting conversation. Oh, Donnie says, I know for a fact a former FBI agent is here asking questions. He's based out of California. Huh. Wonder who that could be.
So, yeah, Prickly brings up a good point. She says she was too uncomfortable to go to the police. So her parents facilitated the meeting, but she had enough wherewithal to record a convo with the police. That seems off. She also had the wherewithal to record her therapy sessions.
I should record this. And by the way she presents in these interviews is like, I had this perfect life. Everybody knew me as, I was valedictorian. I was almost the prom queen. Like, I had this great life. I felt bad for people who didn't have families to go home to. I mean, she doesn't say it outright like that, but there's sort of this insinuation, right? And then she's like, but my body was holding trauma. Childhood violent trauma.
Well,
no, ma'am.
Let me tell you too something that just to kind of build off of that, because that's such a good point. But I've talked to a number of different undisclosed sources throughout this, and what I'll say is and in my own investigation, I have found that there was somebody who said something that stuck with me, and what was said was, there were, when you're in middle school, there's a lot of popular kids or people who get to be in student council or the presidents or whatever to make a lot of decisions for the student body and make a lot of decisions for the town. Maybe they hold a position of power. Maybe they're in a spot where they get to make a lot of calls. And they felt like Amy Griffin was maybe a person that was kind of in that position. And all of those people that represented that class dropped Amarillo and dropped everyone in that school and just left them in the dust and left them behind. And there's a lot of people that are townies, are like lifers, grew up in the area, are from, you know what I mean? And still are affected by this book and affected by the words that she said. And yet she was somebody who was put in this position of power, or they were put in these positions where they made these decisions and were kind of held to a higher regard, per se, even for class reunions, even for gatherings like later on in life. And they still think so little of the people there that they would do that, And so I thought that was something powerful that was said to me that I was like, that's kind of a tough thing. So.
Yeah. I mean, Amarillo is not like a bad area. I don't know. It's not.
It's a big, but it's also kind of, it's small too.
I'm from a city like that in Colorado, and it's like, I don't know. There is kind of a thing of like people where I live now, they're like that. They want to, their dream is to get out.
Yeah.
That was my dream. And then I moved home. Mildly
Mercurial says, is the alleged abuser still alive? I think it's important to say that there's multiple different teachers that allegedly fit the description.
I thought we had it narrowed down to one, and he was
so Jane Doe was saying one, Amy is saying another.
Oh, right. Okay. I thought Amy's.
So both could be technically true, but it's, but even too, the New York Times had allegedly reached out to one of the accused people, and so had the police, and this person has gone underground.
The person that Amy
accused, because Jane Doe has never accused her or had gone public with her accusations.
Right.
Mimi says, did anyone ever read A Million Little Pieces by James Frey? Yes.
And it's
he's alive.
It's kind of crazy that the Oprah of it all is connecting these two, like,
right.
Because I've seen a lot of people bring up A Million Little Pieces in regard to this case.
That was a huge thing when that went down. I remember everybody being like, you could just lie in a memoir? Yes, you could.
Yeah. And then
have you heard of this, Katie?
Right?
It's what?
Depends on how much money you make.
Have you heard of this guy, James Frey?
Yeah, The Million Little Pieces.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was like a millennial defining media moment.
I would say I looked it up like recently. I didn't know about it, but like I didn't even know about Oprah being a victim. What does TMZ say about Blake and Ryan? Sorry, guys, we are also so entwined with the. If you're here for the tell,
we have to take a quick intermission for Isaac's.
Isaac, you guys, I had this theory.
Isaac, thank you for bringing us breaking news.
Yes, thank you for this important breaking news.
Important breaking news. There was in the group chat, there was a funny, like somebody put a poll up that was like, do you think Blake and Ryan are going to show up or invited? And I was thinking like, they're going to be wedding crashers. Like, you know, how
they're going to object. So
God, that skirt.
Ow.
Sorry, I realized that's everyone's like, why are we talking about this?
Because Blake Lively is still pulling some nonsense on the docket, and until she stops and goes away for a few years, we're going to be talking about her.
And if you do follow me for the Blake of it all, July 13th is the last document drop in this case. So I'm going to be live, and I'll be here for 6 hours if we need to, but it's going to be the last time we have a document due on a particular deadline. So
I got kind of fatigued with it all, so I took a little break, skis, and I popped back in. It just, I'll tell you what, the traffic on those videos is a lot.
I skipped kind of this last month, but I think I'm kind of revisiting some of the text messages and continually putting things back. Kind of what have we learned?
What have we learned? So with some of the documents, or where are we at? Yeah. Spinning quite a yarn, Katie. Yeah, I've got a basket. So I can't find my needles. I went down in the basement. We were kind of not live, but we were all behind the scenes before we went live. And I looked for my tub with my knitting needles because they were both doing like projects. And I was like, oh, I could do a project. I finally found my basket full of yarn and it's just tangled. So I'm just going to untangle it. Is my goal.
All right, I'm going to finish this letter to the editor. Yeah. All right. Eventually, I would come to understand that even deeper than the wounds of the abuse itself was the wound of how the perpetrator had isolated me in this secret, insisting that nobody would believe me. To truly heal, I had to be believed, and that all started with me believing myself. And at the beginning, I didn't. For months, I looked desperately for any evidence that I could be misremembering my own abuse, hoping that a childhood friend would say the tile in the middle school bathroom was red instead of yellow so I could declare the whole thing a fiction. Yet the deeper I dug...
That's what needed to be changed. Like, oh, just as long as the Tyler color is different, that's what's going to really...
Literally, 3 weeks apart, I visited a client's house. In my mind, I was like, it's gray. I'm looking for a gray house. And I pulled up and I was like, oh, it's brown. Like...
Yeah.
Well, that's not a relevant detail to. Yeah. And it's just, you know what I mean? It's like, why are we so focused on external things rather than what happened?
Also,
I have a theory about this with the tile, but yeah.
This detail of like, I needed people to believe me for my own healing. I don't want to speak to anyone else's experience. In my experience of like coming out and sharing some of the things that had happened to me, part of the reason the fear exists that people won't believe you is because all of the reasons you found internally, whether that's like popular pop culture narratives or like your own narratives of like blaming yourself, you don't want to hear repeated in another person.
Right.
It's not necessarily that they wouldn't believe me, although that would have stung too. It was the doubt and what would cause the doubt that would affirm that this is my fault.
Yeah.
Right. And so if she had never dealt with any of that, why is it so important that people believe you? I mean, I on a like larger level, like, yes, okay, it is important to believe people, but I don't know. It's just that detail when she's like, I remembered this 5 minutes ago and it was very traumatic for me my whole life. And I'm like, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. I would learn that the circumstances around my own recovered memories were far from unusual. Many women only began to recall their own childhood sexual abuse when their children reached the age that they themselves were when the abuse began. It is only when the stakes are that high, our own children's safety, that the connection is made and the desire to protect becomes strong enough to pierce the wall that separates us from our most painful memories. In my career, I have had the privilege of guiding women as they step into their power, many of them for the first time, to build businesses with the mission of changing the world for the better. Yet it is through the sharing of my own story with people I trust that I have found the deepest healing. In sharing, we let go of the shame. There is light when we do not hide. If this book can be held by my friends and family, with the women with whom I work and the teachers at my daughter's school and survivors who I may never meet, I know this will all be worth it. My story, as I've told it here, is a personal account. Does anybody think Blake's going to write a book?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not an
or documentary.
Yeah.
She doesn't strike me as a writer.
Sam Lansky, where are you? Get in there.
I doubt what kind of who is this guy that all of a sudden is like the ghostwriter of the century? Like, what are his credentials? Like, I want to know what somebody's experience is, or like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure there's such better writers out there. That book was garbage. No offense, but
this is his.
I've never read that. Is it good?
I have not read it either.
I feel like it was pretty well received amongst her fans, but I don't know if that's because they got the insider scoop, or if it's because it actually read well.
But then also too, like, how well would you think that Britney Spears can write?
I've seen her Instagram posts, so there are very few punctuation. There's very little punctuation that makes it readable.
I figured it would be a lot of emojis.
It is a lot of emojis.
Zane, Blake can't do a Call Her Daddy interview because Alex Cooper is being represented by Brian Friedman.
Ooh.
Whoops.
So, oopsie daisy.
Sorry, okay. We are so off topic.
Yeah, this is how it is. There is a pinball in my mind that is going around. All right. Okay. My story, as I told it here, is a personal account. I'm not an expert on mental health or sexual abuse. This is about my memories and how I navigated the lived experience of healing trauma in my body and mind. Yet it is also a research project, reconstructed from my diaries, recorded conversations with therapists and attorneys. That sounds like she's violated privilege. My session notes from treatment, personal correspondence, and a vast array of other primary source materials. That's such an interesting way of framing that.
Right. And primary source materials, meaning she's been gathering and collecting. That's why every single bit of discovery that I've seen of all of this continues to just set off red alarms of like, I think that this has been premeditated for a very long time. Of like, from the beginning of, I don't know as far as like Jane Doe, like meeting in Palm Springs, but at least for the first MDMA session, I think she knew going into all of it that she needed to record every single minute, have source materials for every, like, you know what I mean? So everything is meticulously documented. And, you know, it's important to me. Read that sentence because it's just fucking makes you.
Prickly Pear says primary source materials is a tell.
Yeah.
Okay,
so wait. She meets with Jane Doe before or after she starts her therapy session?
Before. Well, according to Jane Doe.
According to Jane Doe, they met in 2019.
According to
hypothetically,
Amy, she met with Claudia after.
So hypothetically, they meet beforehand. Amy is gathering information about a traumatic experience so that she can discover it through MDMA. But it's recorded, so it gives it some veracity.
I think because she remembered, this is my theory and my speculation and my opinion, because she remembered in the first 5 minutes, she didn't know what the drug was going to do to her. She was willing to go in and do it, right? But she knew she needed to use this first session to get this out. So as premeditated as this might have been, her going, I remember it all, before the drug had even kicked in, because she knew she needed to at least express those things to have a record, to have documentation, whether that's through therapy notes, whether that's through whatever, of somebody else witnessing her recalling that during that first session.
So
You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that maybe sounds crazy beans, but from everything I've seen, it's just like, I can't help but have this nagging feeling of like, everything has a perfect record. And she has this need for perfection of like, even if somebody were to overturn the stone and look into this, she would have a backup for it. And that's where I think even the second media meeting with this new Claudia, I think as soon as Jane Doe started asking questions and got skeptical of like whatever the talent agents were asking of her, I think that's when Amy Griffin stepped in and was like, "Oh no, we need to have another Claudia. We need to have somebody else that we can claim as her." So then she flew to Amarillo, got the box of Taco Villa to have the taco, like, and literally got all of the things and took a photo next to her, like, "Cheese, look at us. I have proof. I have evidence of us doing this and having coffee."
Yeah.
And the postcard and all of it. Like, it's just.
And isn't the postcard postmarked from New York?
That's what the New York Times says, but I wonder what they had to negotiate to get to see that and to publish what they did publish.
And if they did see the postcard.
Yeah.
I mean, I for one completely will not accept the accusation that the New York Times doesn't do a thorough job on all of its research. I know
of it in every story, always.
I don't think
especially when we invaded.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but Hunter Biden's laptop was a Russian psyop. WMDs were really in Iraq, and they saw the text messages.
Yeah.
And those were definitely enhanced interrogation techniques.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, as I actually do the interrogation stuff. So, yeah, absolutely. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it was, I don't remember where I saw this, but somebody was talking about the fact of, think about the New York Times liability of all of this. Of even sending 2 reporters to go and investigate this for a week or however long, to go down to this place, to go ask questions of all these people, to spend all the time against knowing who they were up against.
Right.
About what the New York Times was like, you know what? Yeah, we are willing to, what kind of tip they got or what kind of like response they had, and knowing like, ooh, maybe we should look into this, you know?
That is interesting to think about. I mean, yeah, what motivated them to do an article without knowing?
To send two reporters, to send 2 investigators to go down and to coordinate and to go to Las Vegas, go to Amarillo, spend all these times, months and time and resources to go against these billionaires.
Yeah, but who wants to take out a billionaire more than another billionaire? So maybe like Elon Musk called and was like, I need to be the most billionaire-iest billionaire. Yeah. And so I need you to take out the other billionaires. Write about this book. I know it's a lie.
But I think even too, what I found fishy is even with the New York Times reporters. Yeah, it's Katie Rossman who came to town. Liz Egan did not. But what I'll say is Katie Rossman was invited to a launch party for the Tell. And Katie Rossman was tagged in quite a few photos with a lot of the people running with Amy Griffin and a lot of the people running in those circles, surrounding the girl boss movement and etc. Back in like 2022. So it's almost as if the reporters themselves were kind of on the in with the circle.
I mean, it could be that they just got the sense that they didn't think the memoir was true.
Which turned out to be a huge media heyday when it happened to James Frey or whatever, right? So,
yeah,
I mean, that might too just be like, we get clicks when a memoir is pure fiction.
That's true.
Yeah.
Especially when the memoir is somebody who the general public is prone to disliking anyway, i.e. billionaires.
Yeah.
Because the media loves nothing more than to disparage a woman.
Loves nothing more.
Nothing more.
But also, what are we? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I mean, there are some things that threw up red flags for me. But I also am not fully caught up on everything that's been filed. so that's why I'm.
There's a lot. There's too much. I didn't even log into the Los Angeles Superior Court today because I was like, I haven't even read what I currently have. I can't even fathom getting more. So, yeah, I'm actually Kristen grew up with Amy on my husband's phone. Yeah, Kristen, hi, how's it going?
Hi.
I think they're door dashing. Who else is out here? We've got hi Lar Trainer. How's it going, everybody? Rose is wild. Yeah, Elon will take out Taylor Swift one day.
I don't. Taylor
The
Swift.
wedding news is quite a bit. Yeah.
I just want to see her dress. I just want to see if I'm right.
I just want to know if she's trolling Donnie on purpose.
That would be really funny.
That would be.
All right. So primary source materials, we're just going to tuck that away for later. It's so important to me that every word of this is true, not just for my own integrity, but because I want to take readers on the exact same journey I went on of mistrusting myself, doubting myself, and ultimately learning to listen to my own inner strength. Again, I don't feel like the book is this at all.
Wait, where was that link that I sent you earlier today?
About what?
The tailmovie.com.
Oh, yeah.
Which,
because that's that same thing where this is her own, like, whatever. She says, moreover, I decided to leave the main character's Jennifer's name my own in the tale while fictionalizing other names because I wanted the viewer to have to wrestle with the reality of the events. So, like, they're kind of saying a similar thing. And I was like, I picked up on that.
It is interesting because in the first draft, her editor describes it as character Amy when they're talking about how basically they're going to make up certain scenes.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
You're like,
Yeah. It's also the story of my family. She barely mentions her husband. How the trust and communication I built with my husband, John, over the course of our marriage allowed me to be vulnerable enough to explore this part of myself, and of how my own children inspired and challenged me to face my truth. I do think the kid thing is in there a bit. I'll give you that. And although this is not an instruction manual for survivors of SA, I want it to be useful to everyone who reads it to help us understand how the larger landscape of trauma is all related, how insidiously children can be groomed, and how to spot the warning signs that both I and everyone in my own world missed. Again, I would never have guessed that this was anything to do with the book.
Does she do any of that? Because
No.
that's a story worth telling.
Yeah, I did leave the book thinking I'm not really sure what the point of the book was.
And the thing too is, like, I feel like this proposal and the way her proposal was written was so much better, and like the outline and everything.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, way better than whatever the fuck this was.
Like,
You're like, where's this book?
Yeah, this book is good.
This is weird. Like, I don't know who ended up signing off on this, but it's odd.
Yeah, and I don't understand. Is that Sam's Lansky's book? I don't know. Anyway. All right. I've been told, let's see. Okay, I've been told by doctors that it's a miracle I survived what happened to me, since many others end up struggling with addiction, mental illness, and self-harm. But as I've come to find out, trauma doesn't always lead to self-destruction. Perfectionism, hyperproductivity, and obsession with achievement, the demons that plagued me my whole life, can be signs of trauma too. Okay. Most people would never think.
They can also be signs of white supremacy, but all right.
Not now, Britt. I need another graphic for how can we make this about white supremacy. I'll just use the same people from the Taylor Swift.
Perfect.
Just cross out Taylor Swift.
Just cross out Taylor Swift and write white supremacy. Most people would never think to pay attention to your highest achieving child, but they could be the one who is suffering the most. This book is many things: a memoir, a deeply personal account of what happened to me, how I processed the revelations that turned my world upside down, and how I came to understand the ways in which this abuse had shaped my life. A mystery, an investigation into the secrets of the man who raped me and the people and systems that enabled him and failed me, with twists and turns that are stranger than fiction and make for a genuinely gripping story. I want to read this whole book, because we only have snippets of it in the proposal. And a manifesto, a document of how I redefined my relationship to power after being robbed of it and came to believe myself, even within a culture that denies women their credibility, to emerge stronger than ever.
A manifesto for MDMA and the Me Too movement.
Here's the thing. She needs people to believe her. It is important. It enrages her when they don't. So she's going to write this book and put her story out there where hundreds of thousands of people are just not going to believe her solely because she's a woman. Like, without any discussion of what she's done to process when people don't believe her, which is something you have to go through, right? Like, that is a huge part of trauma recovery is figuring out how to, like, move through that kind of thing.
How to
None of
handle
that.
triggers. Yeah, all of it.
How to handle triggers. She is brand new to discovering she's a trauma victim. Can't handle people questioning her. I should write a book.
Don't worry, Britt. MDMA will cure you.
Yeah, and I think
it did not cure
You
me.
just
So
drink off of Molly and you'll be good, girl. Don't worry about it.
I need a trip advisor because it did not cure me.
let's see.
You
Yeah,
just a fun story for your Met Gala dinner table when you're eating rubber chicken, just I think in this, I think we skipped over it, but when they said trauma was a buzzword, that like really stuck out to me, like in the very beginning. But anyways, finish the book.
Let me finish the thing. I now believe that my deepest wound is also the origin of my greatest strength, my desire to help others, enact change, and help people believe in themselves. That's exactly what I've done in my career through investing in businesses led by women so that we can find our own agency and power, even within systems that seek to disempower us. Yet I know that the next evolution of the work is for me to tell this story. All of it is true except the very first line of this letter. That's the only thing here that isn't true. I have so many reasons to write this book. So the first sentence was what? I have no reason to write this book. Okay. I have so many reasons to write this book. It took a long time for me to believe me, but I finally do. I have faith that you will too. It's just...
I mean, this sounds really nice. And this sounds like... You have to send that to me.
Oh, yeah, I'll save it.
TikTok. So there's this like really,
Oh, God.
probably like 15-year-old graphic that are like the characteristics of white supremacy culture, but they're like drawn as like little like poison bottles, right? And I use that graphic a lot, and every single time I do, my video will get like 10 views. Like it's like TikTok has been programmed to like
it knows.
Yeah.
TikTok's like, bitch, no one wants to see this.
I'm like, okay.
But yeah, that's
So that's kind of some of the sketchy parts. And then so this letter, I don't think we were ever supposed to see this letter. I don't know who read it and was like, yeah, let's make money off this. But like,
who is this letter to?
The
it was
editor.
attached to the proposal. So I think it's just a generalized letter to whatever editor was reading it to try and screen it,
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm only like, I would say 200-ish. So the other part, I have not gotten to the interrogatories.
Well, this is the one that I was the most interested in. So the special interrogatory: identify the real person upon whom the character Claudia in the tell is based, including that person's full legal name and last known address. And the response was general objections. Griffin objects to this interrogatory to the extent it calls for the full legal name and last known address of this character Claudia as seeking confidential and or sensitive personal, business, or financial information protected by the right to privacy, which we're all very familiar with from the Lively case because it applies to all California citizens. Anyway. And applicable statutory provisions of the California Civil Procedure Code. The character Claudia is given that pseudonym in the tell to protect the identity of the real individual on whom the character is based, and disclosure of the individual's name would reveal private identity and identify information of a non-party. Griffin further objects to this interrogatory to the extent that it seeks information protected from disclosure by the attorney-client privilege, work product doctrine, and other applicable privileges. Griffin further objects to the undefined term real person as vague and ambiguous.
I wonder if they have an affidavit signed.
I mean, I think the thing that's interesting is the attorney-client privilege. It makes me think that Amy has told her attorney about Claudia, but the attorney has not gotten correspondence or anything from Claudia.
Yeah. I'm wondering if, and I genuinely wonder if Claudia even knows that we're on a live stream talking about her right now.
Right.
Like if she even knows about any of this, because she couldn't have been bothered to pick up her phone after Amy was like nonstop texting her for months, right?
Yeah.
And it was no response, and she's like, sorry, wasn't by my phone. But also Amy was texting her a bunch of crazy stuff. So it just makes you wonder.
Yeah.
These attorneys are aggressive, though.
They are very aggressive. They're very similar to Blake Lively's attorneys. The difference is the Lively's attorneys are up against Brian Friedman. So I'm like, oh yeah.
These guys are not Brian Friedman.
These are great. Yeah.
And I'll tell you, so a little behind the scenes. So the most latest thing that they've been fighting about. So there's one piece of discovery that has not been, there's a motion. So what they did is they filed motions to compel and to do discovery up front, because when Jane Doe filed her lawsuit, she was like, we need to do this discovery up front. They held the line as long as they could. And I mean, kind of give it to them, these two attorneys that maybe don't do this, I guess, pit bull litigation or whatever you want to describe it as, but they held the line as long as they could. And there's one thing that's left that they're fighting over, and that's the imaging, the forensic imaging of Jane Doe's phone. And so on, what's today? Thursday? It would have been yesterday, Wednesday. They had a hearing, and in the hearing, the judge was basically like, let's recess. You need to go ahead and call and get this scheduled today, or get it done as soon as possible. And so both sides, the plaintiff and the defendant's attorneys, were calling Jane Doe and calling forensic imaging experts to try and get it scheduled. And we're coming back with different answers, even though they're calling the same people. So it was like this back and forth of, well, I called the company and I called them too, and you got this answer and you got this answer. What? And the judge is like, what time can we do this? Can we just want to preserve it? And it's hard because I think the defendants, the Weingarten with Wilkie Farr, kept saying, we just want to preserve the record. We want to image the whole phone, get it all over with. And Jane Doe's attorneys returned with an anti-slap, like tried to get the forensic imaging kind of stayed or like held off on, and the judge wasn't having it. He was like, let's just do this now. But I think the concern and the worry is if her whole phone gets imaged, it's going to be sitting there, not saying that anybody's looking at everything, but it's at least been copied to be accessed at a later time, where maybe in the Nevada litigation, the attorneys can go, hey, we have our phone imaged over here. We would love to see what that looks like, blah, 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 blah. So,
I'm sorry. I just have to say, as a resident of Colorado, Nevada.
I was wondering.
I was so triggered for just a moment.
You guys are all, I knew I was going to say it wrong. There's Nevada, Iowa, Nevada.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Nevada.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'll say it either way, back and forth.
If there's a place called Nevada, and I was like, I've never heard anyone.
It's all spelled the same way.
Nevada that way.
So sorry. Las Vegas, but yeah, I think in that litigation, they're going to end up. So what they ended up doing, the judge was like, surely she could do it today. It's just 2 hours. You hook up your phone. What's her deal? Why can't she do it today? They literally left and were on a recess call. Like it was wild. So, came back, and the Jane Doe's attorneys kept going, let's at least just wait till Monday. Why can't we just wait till Monday? It's a holiday weekend. Why force this? What, everybody's going to rush. We're going to have to work through the week. Like, let's just wait till Monday. The company said they could do it Monday. Jane Doe said they could do it Monday. Let's just wait till Monday. And the judge is like, let's do it today. The defendants were like, let's do it today. Everyone's panicked. Everybody's calling people. They come back, balls of steel, and go, so we went ahead, Judge, and we're going to have to do it Monday. And I was like, Monday? So they waited. But I think they did that because their answer is due for that lawsuit, for the countersuit, on Tuesday, on the 7th.
Gotcha. Okay.
But there's also there's another hearing on Tuesday as well. So.
One thing that's interesting to me is, and this is something that comes up in the Lively lawsuit, which is how I noticed it. it's pretty weird that Claudia's text messages have this double spacing after the period. This is something older people tend to do because typewriters had double spaces after the period and word processors do it. Which
What
is
phone
just
do you have? Maybe it's like a BlackBerry.
it could be, but I mean, I think that's interesting about like the two spaces because there's a person in the Lively lawsuit who switches up between this, where there's two spaces after the period and just one, and I think it's because they're switching between their phone and like they're copy pasting things from a Word document is what I think they're doing.
Oh.
That's at least a
because I
theory.
type text messages on my computer sometimes too.
I do too, but I just checked and it doesn't do the two spaces, at least on Apple. And I don't know if Android does the same thing. But it also sounds like they are texting.
But does Word? I'm a single space after my period kind of girl.
It is a thing. I'd say you'd have to be 20 years older than me, which would be the right age range for them.
I was double spaced after my period way through college. And then I got to law school and they were like, you save every little teeny bit of space you can because you never know when you have that brief that's like,
yeah.
Right at
I
the
got
edge.
taught the two spaces in elementary school, middle school, and then high school they told us to stop. So
that
Katie's
is very
like, I'm too young for
noticeable.
this conversation. Katie's like, what the fuck are you guys talking about?
You guys were learning about double spacing and the Oxford comma, and I was learning about what happens if your blood sugar goes over a certain range and like how to properly take up. You know what I mean? It's just different skills, different.
No. It's an age thing because typewriters used to have to put two spaces after. So we're yeah. I guess you wouldn't. Typewriters,
but you would never learn to do that with texting.
Right. And so I always just think it's odd when I see it in text messages. I don't.
They're typing it on a traditional keyboard, you would think.
Yeah, and then copy pasting it.
Or like maybe using an application to text with, or like like a MacBook, like I do, and texting because it's iMessage.
Someone is hitting the space bar twice. But that's what I mean. Like you're hitting the space bar twice because that's what you're used to typing.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas like you wouldn't be used to typing that on your phone unless they just think it's proper to have two spaces after a period no matter what device you're using.
Yeah.
Or they're used to it. Yeah, just the MacBook. Like cuz my MacBook, I text you guys with the MacBook all the time. You know what I mean?
Same.
So
yeah. So
it's totally an age thing. That is one thing in the law we are told not to use the Oxford comma.
Yeah, too.
Why?
To create confusion, I guess. I really don't know.
Get paid more billable hours to try to figure out what the lack of a comma means.
There are cases where entire paragraphs are written about the placement of an and or a comma or a or, right? Or a shall. And we're like, let's just leave out some commas.
So Kristen says only in the last few years did they remove the two space. If you hit the space bar twice, it puts an automatic period.
Oh, that's right. On your phone.
Okay.
So smart. So smart.
I don't know. Yeah, it's I feel like we need Claudia. I feel like we need this Claudia woman to come out and be like.
So I'll say the only other person, and maybe I'll put this out here because I don't know who's in the Amarillo chat. So no, maybe I'll think about it. What other details? What other questions do you guys have in learning about this case? What other things are up? Because I feel like there's things that I have questions about, but then also things I feel like I've got answers about.
So what are the holes in Jane Doe's story?
The Palm Springs. So we don't have any evidence of the Palm Springs meeting. She claims that and then we also don't really have concrete evidence that we've seen of her conversations with Dominique Price or any of the talent agents.
Okay, so she could be making up that somebody called her.
She has affidavits from multiple people who said that
she talked about it.
So let me pull up one of them. Okay, so this is someone who's a resident of Las Vegas. Sorry, I can put it on the screen. Good night. Okay. I have personal knowledge of the facts stated herein. I've known her for 6 years, consider her a friend. June of 2022, Jane Doe and I went out to eat in Las Vegas. She said she would not be available to work with me going forward because she was devoting a significant amount of her time to a project involving the making of her life story. She told me that someone from California had contacted her and he was working with her on what I recall being described as a television show or a movie about her life. She told me that she would be traveling shortly to Los Angeles in connection with the project. I did not know much about Jane Doe's background or personal history. My initial reaction was one of skepticism. I recall thinking, what about her life would they want to make a television series or movie about? I did not understand the basis for the project, who the person from California was that she was talking to, why they had approached Jane Doe, or how the project had come about. I recall that Jane Doe conveyed to me she would not be available much because she would need to spend a great deal of time devoted to this project about her life story.
Like what, she told her friends she was going to quit her job because
yeah,
a movie about her life. Like,
yeah. Let's see. While I did not want to discourage Jane Doe or burst her bubble, I was genuinely puzzled and concerned that someone might be taking advantage of her. I recall asking her whether she was being paid for her time and participation. I do not recall receiving a clear answer that put my concerns to rest. I also recall that Jane Doe and I had a lighthearted conversation about who would play her in her life story. I suggested Charlize Theron. To my knowledge, nothing materialized from the project despite the significant amount of time Jane Doe had devoted to it. I've never heard that any series, film, or production about her life was ever produced. In hindsight, I find the whole thing inexplicable and troubling.
Kristen, what do you say about the NDA? Why did you say NDA? What does that mean?
Her maybe sister not disclosing her maybe sister.
So there's a affidavit from somebody named Tanya Vanden Bosch or something like that.
Yeah.
And she is Jane Doe's sister, and her maiden name's Altum. But in the entire affidavit, it does not say that she is Jane Doe's sister. It almost describes her as if she's a friend. It doesn't lie. It doesn't say she's not, but it doesn't disclose that, which I feel like was a choice.
Yeah.
And then I feel like it could come back to bite them, if they want to argue like, oh, it's her sister, of course she'll do this. You know what I mean?
I tried to put a comment up and I banned the person. Hang on.
Whoops.
How did I do that?
You sniff food banned? Uh-oh.
Oh, God. I was trying to put the comment up. Jesus.
Don't worry, I'll get a message, I'm sure.
Tell him to go to your chat. Because I did not mean to do that.
Okay.
I don't. Okay. I can do it on YouTube.
Banned you. Sorry.
I'm so sorry. I think this might be objectively the funniest thing that I've ever done, and now I can never make fun of Brit ever again.
Yep. See, I'm not the only one bad with technology.
I don't know which one.
Hang on. I think I can fix it. There we go. No, where is it?
Okay, so we have some timeline discrepancies in Jane Doe's story, but we also have people corroborating that she has told them this story before this book was ever published.
Because we just don't have evidence yet, or that she's provided or anyone's provided.
Okay.
The only side that Amy kind of came back against the Palm Springs meeting was that she was never in Palm Springs in 2018, 2019, or 2022, or whenever the dates were.
Okay.
And so it was very like she didn't say, no, we never had this meeting. No, we did. I was never in Palm Springs during these years. That was the only kind of pushback she gave.
To me, it doesn't necessarily tell me that she's making up the incidents that are the basis of the book.
Right.
But that she's not accurately remembering the timeline around the book getting published.
I have a theory, but I was going to say it would be crazy, but it's so perfect.
It's purple, just like purple Sarah yarn in order.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, we are officially the.
Did we unban Snafu?
I did, but I don't.
Sorry.
I'm so sorry.
They're like,
sorry.
Heck to them.
I'm so sorry. let's see. But so this is something that I'm kind of thinking about. Like, hear me out. Maybe Amy did actually like offer something to Jane Doe, and Jane Doe just said, "I don't want anything to do with it."
Mm.
And she's like, you know, she's coming back now. Because I can't imagine like this. How else?
Like, what would she offer?
Like, maybe Amy approached her and said she wanted to write a book about, like, she wanted to see if she wanted to try MDMA or something. Like, do you want to talk about your life story and your trauma?
Or can I use it?
Can I use it for this MDMA thing? Jane says no. Amy uses her for herself.
But she did say,
and the back of the postcard
about
says,
trauma.
the back of the postcard says, "I'm really sorry that I can't let you use my trauma for your book, but I wish you all the best."
Yeah, right. I'm sorry, Snafu. I'm so sorry.
There's something weird about that whole like I peaked in high school. I'm like, I got this award in 7th grade. Everybody loves me. The Amy Award.
The weirdest, and I know I've told you this like a million times, Katie, but I'll tell Brett, because okay. So Amy goes to her old teacher, a coach that she got along with in school, and she says to the teacher, because they were calling this award that Amy got, they like invented the award for her, and it was like for the kindest. You guys both like turned your head at the same time, exactly the same way, and I thought, oh, something, and then I was like, wait, you guys are in different.
We're like dogs, like.
You know, but you both did it at the same time, and I was like, what could you both be looking at? But so Amy tells this coach, the coach says, like, you got that award when you were like a kid and whatever. And she says something like, I don't understand why I got an award for kindness. Aren't you supposed to be kind? Right? But she says it like at the age of 57 to this coach, right? And that's what the woman, Claudia, wrote on the card.
It's like the same wording, the same
exact
style,
same wording.
Yeah, that dial. So it's
Claudia
odd.
is quoting the conversation that Amy had with the coach.
What I find even weirder, let me show you. St. Andrews.
Oh my God, Amy, the back of the postcard says, "Get your own trauma."
Can I share my?
Yeah, if you
let me see if it'll do it.
Present down at the bottom.
Yeah, I think you can.
So I'm sharing my screen. Okay, yeah, so you guys can see. Okay, so the other weird part is like she talks about this award not only in the book The Tell, but like in like Jane Doe or Claudia, writes on the postcard about it. There's in her old school. So this is the private school that she went to before she went to the middle school, the St. Andrews Episcopal, whatever Episcopal. I'm going to say it wrong. Whatever. There
Episcopal.
is a Episcopal. I always say Episcopal. I know
that's not the one.
Right, but anyways.
I'm sorry. You know, one thing that threw me off was when I Googled her first result said she was 57, and it's been throwing me ever since. Like the AI result doesn't have.
AI did her dirty.
Yes.
Also, she's 57. She looks great for 50.
She's 50. Yeah, she's 50.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so this school has an Amy Mitchell Griffin Character and Kindness Award. And so her best friend Courtney, who she also details in the book, and is married to Jake Childers, who both of them were high school sweethearts. They were in the same class as Jane Doe and as Amy Griffin. They nominate her for this Kind Compassion Award for this school for 5th graders. It's given annually to a 5th grade girl. So it kind of is like, I think it's strange that she's so obsessed with this award. And then this award is also given to girls that are a couple years younger. But every other award up here, by the way, you guys, is for someone who has passed away. Except for the Amy Griffin.
Except Amy.
Yeah, well, Amy is a billionaire now, so she's
everybody else dead. But it's weird because all the kid, like this Christian Longenecker is the kid that died on the track that was in their grade and passed away, and they all went to his feet. Like, and all these kids died like within, like, they're just kids that like, so it's very odd that like, oh, and also it's the Amy Griffin Billionaire Kindness Award, you know? So it's just kind of like, huh.
If she was so kind, she would give more of her money away.
You know, yeah, we wouldn't be billionaires, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just this. Jake the Snake. Yeah, there's all these like, yeah, I've gotten, and I'm learning more about the teachers too, and like the coach and all the, there's
So
just
Amy
the
is saying that the back of the postcard from Claudia is saying to Amy what Amy said to the coach.
Yes,
But
verbatim.
we've not seen the
Only,
back of this postcard.
and the postcard says Amy circa 7th grade. Which, so like Claudia said this, that Amy said this exact verbatim thing at the age of 12, that Amy's memoir is saying she said to the coach like in her adult years, 35 years later.
And so it's also odd because the New York Times has seen the back of the postcard. So they've
Well,
seen, and it's two, they describe in their article that it's two different sets of handwriting. But we don't see the handwriting, so we don't know.
and 3 ink colors.
Yes.
Claudia's a pen girly. But also, do we know that they've seen it as opposed to having it described?
Sorry to hear that, Kristen.
So there's 3 different ink colors. Realistically, somebody could have added to whatever was written initially.
Yeah.
Correct. Or it could have been, yeah, there's a number of different possibilities of like, oh, this should say this for the story. This should say this for the book. This should, before we show the New York Times, we should, there's a number of different, but in the end, we don't know what's the postcard is the weird thing. That's like the oddball of it all. I feel like everything else can be explained.
Dominic is the weird thing to me, but yeah.
Why do you think that's weird?
Calling somebody and being like, hey.
Right.
Oh, I think I got that all figured out.
Before I was on the internet, people called me all the time and they were like, can we tell your life story in a movie?
Right.
And I was like, you guys, come on.
But let me tell you, Britt, there's a lot of people that I've cold called and they have been the friendliest people and the kindest people.
Yeah.
Where I think that.
But you have a reason.
Well, and I'm also honest. I'm trying to be as honest as possible. But
right.
With people who are being deceptive or have deceptive means or reasons, they can take advantage of people in positions like that. And I hate that.
Totally. It just, I want to know more about that and the connections there and who that actually was.
I think I need to make a video on that.
Katie and I are looking at each other like if we were in a classroom right now, we'd do that thing where we make eye contact while the teacher is talking and being
or passing a note like, oh, like
ooh, there's behind the scenes.
I've been in it today because there's a couple of connections that I think need to be exposed, and I think it's making information make more sense. But I'll say since Dominique Price submitted or signed an affidavit and that got submitted on Amy Griffin's behalf, that kind of made a lot more pieces fall into place for me of like, oh, somebody's being honest or not honest. You know?
There's some things that I think that he says in his declaration that he does or he doesn't say.
There's words that I think are very heavily relied on, like the sentence structure is carefully written.
Yes. Very Jed Wallace.
Keep in mind, guys, lawyers write the declarations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just recently learned that, which honestly I can't imagine somebody would write that on their own, but yeah.
So, okay, bye. So it's my practice that I will verbatim write down what somebody, like I will take notes and I will verbatim almost exactly what they told me, give it to the court because I'm not interested in writing up my version of events. Now, there may be a word choice here and there that I'm going to be like, not that, this. I am toying with it a little bit, but as closely as I can, because I don't want them to get on the stand later or get into a deposition later and go, well, it actually happened closer this way.
Right. And then,
right. And now there's mud on my face. Now I've wasted everybody's time with this stupid declaration that wasn't true. But I also was trained to come into court and be a bearer of truth
Mm.
and to use that truth for better or worse to advocate for my clients, and we don't run from bad facts. And so I wish I had been taught to like fuck everybody and just make that money. I'd be so rich right now.
Right. So Prickly said, who's Price? So yeah, Price is the lady. So Jane Doe got this call from this number. She says she looked at the number and she Googled it, and that's how she got Price's name. So
I don't. She just said she. We don't know if she Googled it.
I guess we don't know if she Googled it. She has the number from somewhere.
So she said that she had multiple phone calls with this guy. He solicited her story from her, and that he was a supposed talent agent that was going to sell her like story to make a movie or books or whatever out of it. And so with that, Dominique Price is a mystery because he completely denies ever calling her, ever knowing her, ever soliciting stories from anyone, has never been a talent agent, doesn't know anything, completely denies all of it.
Huh.
Yeah.
However,
he does say he's still the owner of the phone number. That's interesting. And I've never represented myself as a talent agent or producer in connection with Sleeved.
In connection with Sleeved, doing a lot. Is doing a lot. Because this guy also was on Temptation Island, and I would personally describe him as like a early 40s, mid 40s, like wannabe, like I don't know, just he wants attention in any way he can get it type of person of like, I'm going to be doing content. I'm going to be a model. I'm going to be on a show. I'm going to
exposure.
Yes.
Yeah. How would she have gotten his name and number? That's an excellent question, Donnie. Right? Where did she pull that out of if he had never called her?
Correct. And how would she have that Google number if it's never used?
You know,
like voice number, yeah.
One thing I did think is interesting about Dominique Price is that he's saying basically, I've never heard of the book. I've never heard of the people in the book. I've never heard of Amy Griffin, Sam Lansky, Penguin Random House, Dial Press, any person's acting on their...
Deny.
Yeah. So he's like saying, I don't know who any of these people are. I don't know what the book is about. I've never heard of any of this. Which is clean. I'll say that.
Well, if you always deny everything... and anything and everything, then it's the same story and it's consistent.
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember exactly.
But when challenged, sometimes we might have different answers. Mm-hmm. I wonder if somebody will challenge him.
So is it just going so far back that she just doesn't have the phone records from the years he called her?
So that was something that was disclosed in a hearing that I listened to. She said that she was living in a different place. So she lived in Morongo Valley, California at the time. And she had a different smartphone that she no longer has possession of, was the way it was described.
Got it.
So they said she doesn't have possession of it. And the judge was like, what? Like she didn't transfer over her data when she switched phones? And they were like, she no longer has possession of the phone.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Which
it's kind of
she's not a very affluent person, is what I'm gathering, right? Wasn't she cleaning houses at one point?
Yes.
So she's living in but looking into things, the reason why we assume she's not very affluent is because she got a fee waiver, and that's just because she was under an income threshold.
Oh, I didn't even know that part. I just was.
No, I think
some of the jobs they describe, like I know they're not high earning. They can be. They can be a decent living, but I'm not imagining her to be on the same level of like anywhere close to Amy Griffin, right?
Of course not. Yeah.
She's not in the upper 1%.
Also, I mean, anybody who doesn't have
in the 99% with the rest of us.
And also anybody who doesn't work in a job where you need to hang on to data for any sort of retention purposes.
Well, my point was going to be a lot of people who don't have a lot of money will switch plans and will switch carriers and jump around because they're looking for the best deal, or they're looking for,
I don't think I had the same phone number for more than 6 months in my 20s because I would switch to Boost or Cricket or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm on the family plan. I'm
Aw.
a 40-year-old woman
On the
living
family
with my mommy on the family plan.
I've got my mom on a family plan. Yeah, we
Mhm.
got just put her under my wing.
Exactly.
Kristen asked, what would be the purpose of having somebody sign an NDA but then turn around and put everything in the book? And my answer for that would be so that they can't do anything about it or say anything different or challenge it.
Right. Also, you can't tell your version of these events, right? It gets to be my story and not anything that can be challenged by anyone else.
Is that what we're thinking happened?
For the same reason Taylor Swift has her boyfriend sign NDAs, right? I get to write the song about it. You don't get to talk about it.
Right.
I made that up, you guys. That's not real.
Allegedly, there is a person or a character that's in the book that was told to sign an NDA and did. Wasn't aware of what the NDA said, is not sure what was, and then their story or their side of things was put within the book. And that
Okay.
person still maybe has a relationship with Amy Griffin, but
Look,
doesn't really know what to do with any of it.
if someone told me, here's a grip of money, right? Because an NDA is a contract, so
Mhm.
there has to be benefit of the bargain on both sides. You don't just hand someone an NDA and then they're bound to it because you have to give them something in exchange, right? Somebody comes up to me and says, here's $100,000, sign this NDA. I'm like, I don't remember a thing. I never saw anything. You didn't see me. I don't know.
I am aware of what they're talking about, and what I'll say is it doesn't sound like anything was exchanged other than, hey, you need to sign this.
Mm.
I mean, if it's done in an employment context, right? Like there are certain contexts where it makes sense, but like,
But then
What
you're
about
getting the money
Next,
from.
where you were to call them and go, hey, I know you did this thing, and accuse them of something for a few hours and then berate them and then allegedly like accuse them of things and get their defenses down and then go, oh, okay, your side of things. Let me go ahead and here, you need to sign this paperwork. And then, oh, by the way, we're going to use some of this information in a book. Is that okay?
Interesting.
Maybe somebody vulnerable, maybe somebody older, allegedly. I don't know. I want to see what the NDA looks like.
Same.
Then I can tell you what can be done and can't be done. That's what
I mean,
that's
if
really
Yes,
what
with
needs
that,
to happen
yeah.
is we need to see what it says. Otherwise, we don't really know what's going on.
what if, and again, I'm not, I know people know the situation way more than I do. So I'm just saying, like, I'm just trying to pretend like I don't know anything, right? What if Amy approached Jane Doe with an offer?
With an NDA.
Yeah. It got signed or it didn't.
I mean,
And kind of this is
like
Jane
something
Doe.
along those lines happened.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like at this point I'm making so many assumptions, but like
Right.
someone from, to use I think N.A. Golden's term, like from that side of the tracks. I know she didn't make up that term, but like it's kind of how she was describing these two women, like someone from that side of the tracks and someone from the other side of the tracks. Like, I don't know. I guess we have people here who maybe know, but like, are we all hanging out together because of this school environment? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
are we all friends? Is this something where it would be normal?
She said
Because
she
I have
never-
to be honest, the rich girls aren't calling the poor girls to hang out.
I was a lot like Jane Doe as a kid, so I kind of know what you mean. And I grew up in an affluent area, but I was like in the school district, not like in the neighborhood. And yeah, I mean, there's some girls that are like interested in, you know, my entire friend group was a lot of immigrants who didn't speak English, and like a lot of the rich girls were really interested in that.
Okay.
But Anonymous says, to Sarah's theory, Amy offered her, she said no, so Amy writes the story up anyway, then reverse engineers getting Jane to give it away. That makes sense to me. And neither of them want to say, you offered me to pay for me for my story.
Just give me the money, man.
Right. Like that, because I feel like that, like you said, Katie, the Palm Springs thing, there's information missing, and it doesn't really.
I think there's just no proof, and nobody has enough. and or wants to produce enough to like corroborate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of like open-ended questions. There's a lot of documents I still need to finish reading through everything. But there's just I think that this has been an interesting case because it's an important one of showing like the power imbalance between someone who has a lot of money, has a lot of power, can take advantage of somebody else that maybe, even just the question of this story, like she was already doubted from the beginning, but now that more stuff is coming out, it's starting to make more sense.
Right.
And I think it's just tough,
And how did Dom know to call her? You'd almost have to find a link between Dom Price and Griffin.
Weird. And he's never been a talent agent, so
that's weird.
No, it's weird. Weird stuff.
Couldn't find anything about talent agencies in his
not
past.
listed anywhere.
Not at all. Definitely not listed anywhere working for a talent agency.
Zane says some of the Christian girls I went to school with loved a project and to be seen as the most kind, most accomplished. Yeah, maybe I'm reaching. I don't know. Like, I just, in my experience coming from a small town that I live in again, right? So I run into these people. Right. I talk to them about who do you talk to? Like, for the most part, the girls that were more poor turned out to be a lot cooler and, like didn't keep in touch with.
Yeah.
The other. So that was my experience, but like, I don't know. I didn't go to a Christian school. I don't know.
I didn't either. I went to public school.
Yeah.
In Iowa. It was pretty bland. I mean, I have not seen the movie Saved, but I did watch the movie The Tale last night, and it was a real rough watch.
Hilarious movie. Saved is so funny.
Oh, God. Okay. I did the same thing, Katie. So we didn't tell her. We didn't tell her about The Tale, though. There's a movie called The Tale. There's a movie called The Tale that's very similar to Amy's story. Like has some superficial.
So like The Tale.
This is the part that I have an issue with. Okay. Keep in mind. So there's a movie that came out, Sundance. It's like a little, what do they call it? Not private movie.
Indie movie.
Indie. Yes, an indie movie. Sundance Festival. The Tale. It's about a woman who was 48 years old, and she basically, the director of the movie, the writer of the movie, made this video memoir of a fictional story at the time when it was released of this woman who uncovered repressed memories of being SA'd as a child. She was 48 years old. Her mom, she like wrote a book when she was little, or like wrote like a novel, and her mom uncovered these pages and basically characterized this. It was a very rough watch. But what I found interesting is that the actress that portrayed this woman was Laura Dern, who is one of Amy Griffin's best friends.
Laura, no. Laura Dern, famous friend to the gays.
Yes.
Like she's like, right. We don't have anything against, but it's just ironic. I find it, and the reason why it caught my attention is because the tell.
And also, when Amy takes the picture, she has a picture on her Instagram of her hanging out with Laura, and says, "Here we are hanging out on the bathroom floor,"
like where she supposedly,
where she keeps saying, "Like I wrote this book on my bathroom floor." I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm a Swiftie. What can I say?
I just find it
everything's an Easter egg.
I just find it odd that two women that are best friends recovered memories, or one played a role where she recovered memories, and then one actually did it a few years later after she played this
the movie was made in 2017, so 2 years before Amy would have done the MDMA.
Oh, interesting.
And it came out in 2018.
Yeah, it's just it's a weird little just side, but it was a very rough watch, I'll say. I don't know how actors portray stuff like that, and it was very difficult to see all of it.
So the Instagram post when she became friends with Laura was 2023, but I don't know if they were friends before that.
Yeah.
I forget sometimes that like famous people's best friends are like whoever gets them the most headlines in the moment.
Or had dinner with them. Like, she's got a new movie coming out. We're best friends. Did you know that?
Right. I think
But-
PR friendships are more interesting than PR relationships.
The same.
Yeah.
Big time.
Oh, PR relationships are weird.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
let's
PR
go hold
friendships are
hands
weird,
to go
too.
walk to this like dinner, and then people will think we're dating.
Mhm.
Right. Hey, pretend like you're friends with all of the other artists releasing albums this year that are on your same label.
Yeah.
That's true. I liked Lizzo's Crash Out though. If you saw all of her like recent,
did.
like
I kind of
albums.
want to listen to the album. I
It's-
haven't listened to it.
This would be one for us to listen to together.
Okay.
It's special.
Are we listening to one now?
No.
Okay.
Because we'll get copyrighted.
Oh, good call. It's like 10 p.m. here, and I have to get up and go do like holiday things in the morning, and my children will be up at 6. So I have to just like, otherwise I will die. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for hanging out.
having me, and like it was so good to talk to. Thank you everybody in the comments. Thanks everybody from Amarillo. Just if you want to, if anybody has some tea to spill, anonymous or not, I'll keep you out of it. You know, just hook me up in the background. You know what I mean? Let's. $100 says this becomes an SVU episode.
Amy's best friends with Mariska. Mariska's always at the scene of the crime. Like, does she? Yeah.
I hope that one chick. Did you see I'm gonna play a dead body or be a dead body every day until I'm on SVU.
Yes.
Oh, that's funny.
I want that chick to star in the episode. You know, she like would wrap herself in saran wrap and like
she's really good at it. Like
she does fantastic. Like
she's getting better at being a dead body, which you wouldn't think was possible, but
it was
amazing.
Great.
She's like, I'll do my own makeup and everything. Just let me on the show.
It's so great. It's so entertaining, but a great follow. And bye, you guys. Yeah, like and subscribe. You know, share this or whatever people do.
Share this with your friends in a Starbucks.
Yes, show this to your friends. Talk about this with your friends in a Starbucks.
Exactly.
And remember,
Starbucks,
Taco
you guys,
Villa.
I'm making fun of Amy Griffin. Do not go to Starbucks.
Right. Yeah, we don't like Starbucks.
Support your local cafe, please.
Support your local Taco Villa.
Donut King or whatever it's called. Okay, cool.
Oh.
we respect that kind of goodbye.
The Irish goodbye is a long story tradition here.
Why wouldn't Mariska recognize her lies? I mean, keep in mind, Mariska is spending her life reenacting fictionalized retellings of popular rapes in the media. Like,
so
I know that Mariska like spends time donating money, all that to organizations, but I don't think that makes her like, I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't mean
that
she. Right. Yeah. And I think too, I mean, I just think there's until things go to court, there is so rarely the desire to see things like this put under a microscope.
Right. And Mariska might be someone too that's like, I believe women. So my friend told me this thing happened and I'm just going to believe her.
Right. It's, you know, I mean, because the question for in these circles is, what is Amy trying to do with the story?
Right.
And she's trying to do good, you know, she's trying to open people's mind to this therapy. So I do wonder if the teacher that she accused is going to come forward. Because there's 2 teachers.
Right.
So I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. So
it's a very interesting story. I'm excited to dive into all the pleadings, all the court filings. Next Wednesday, I have trial, and then I took the weekend off after that. So
good. Yeah.
So I will be spending it.
It's a very quick read.
I'm not going to read the book.
Oh, okay. It's I mean, it took me 4 hours.
I will eventually read the book,
Yeah.
but not after a domestic violence trial.
Oh yeah. That's I actually will say, as somebody who skips books like this typically because of the subject matter, I also didn't find it upsetting. There's it's very brief on details. Like
Okay,
it's
good.
very brief on details. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's only one time that she goes into any details. So if you skip those pages, the lawsuit that you've read, if you've read Jane Doe affidavit, you have read more detail than Amy has.
Got it.
So
The school district has disavowed knowledge of him, of the teacher.
yes.
Oh, so they're like, we don't know who that is.
Yeah. And he's gone underground.
It's very interesting, and I'm very skeptical of repressed memories to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, before we talked to Short Stories Long the other day,
Yeah.
I had it in my mind that repressed memories had been completely debunked by science. They are not accepted at all within science.
And if you guys are interested in the repressed memory, the science, we did a live on my channel with Short Stories But Long, who's a therapist, and kind of talked about what the research says about repressed memories, how likely they are, and then from like what do juries believe and the legality and that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, prickly pear. If this goes to trial, I will read the book.
Yeah.
But at this point in my life, I'm not.
And the court documents are more informative than the book. So,
Yeah. He gave them 30 plus years. Yeah, I don't know. That's the problem too, though, right? With like, if Amy's story isn't real,
mm-hmm.
and I don't know, so I'm going to continue to say it that way, like,
if
whatever.
Right, yeah,
right.
Yeah.
If her story isn't real, she is potentially falsely accusing somebody. Right? Because the person she's accusing and the person Jane Doe is accusing are different.
Are different people.
Yeah. So.
And then I think the other part of this is like, it does sound like the statute of limitations has passed.
Sure.
For both of them. But one thing that's interesting is Jane Doe, because of coming forward with this, has almost been forced to accuse someone simply by saying it's not you have the wrong person, but this happened to me. Yeah. This does narrow down who this other person is.
Right, which the court of public opinion does not have a statute of limitations.
Right, right.
So, Johnny says I can prove he didn't do it.
He didn't do it?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I will say that I'm a lawyer, but I also have a history of being a massage therapist and working with people in like somatic healing sessions, right? And it's interesting to me that Amy talks a big game about how she healed all this trauma in her body. That woman is buttoned the fuck up. And again, we talked about this, like, I don't believe that you can fully lie detect through somebody's body language, but the body does give you more information as to people's like interiority, right?
Right.
And maybe it's the Oprah of it all. Like, her and Oprah knew each other, not clear how well they knew each other. But during that interview, she is very like, okay, great. She's got good posture. She's probably doing that for the sake of the interview.
Right.
Her legs are crossed. She's probably doing that for the sake of the interview. I think she was wearing a skirt. Don't quote me on that. Right. But her face and everything, she is very like
neutral. Yeah.
Like smiling and turning her head slowly. And it just was like, my thought was like, she's still aiming for perfection.
Yeah.
And what is she's going for, like, you can see in her body language, there's still like a tightness there. So if you're trying to sell MDMA as a therapy to me, based on what I'm seeing, you didn't unburden yourself. Like, there is still something tightly wound here that to me, I'm like, well, what are we doing here then? I don't know. She's just, I don't believe her that there was healing as deeply as she sells it.
Yeah, it's an odd, it is a really, and that's almost like, when I'm saying like the value in the book is not in the facts in the book. The value in the book is in the structure of the book.
Right.
Because it is so odd to be reading it and thinking there's no conflict. Like if you said a billionaire wrote a book in which she took an experimental drug treatment with hallucinogens and recovered repressed memories of being assaulted in middle school by her teacher, but there's no conflict in the book that she wrote about it.
Right.
It's a very, and it's reading the proposal, and that's why I think before it almost, because I know you don't want to read it, but like reading the actual book and then the proposal is so much better. It's so much richer. It has the conflict that you would expect. Like I believe her more reading the proposal than I do the book, which then makes me wonder why it got turned into the thing that it is.
And maybe some of that was the ghostwriter,
but then the ghostwriter also says he met Claudia, because he says he was at the meeting with Amy and Claudia, and I'm like, so yeah, I don't know, but Claudia doesn't say it at any of the messages. Jane doesn't tell Claudia, I'm bringing a guy with me.
Right.
It's
very strange.
It's very odd. Real Claudia needs to come forward. I guess I don't know if the Amarillo people know who real Claudia is, or if she is like a real, like a composite. I don't know.
Donnie, do you know real Claudia? And he says that's just her, raised very prim and proper. I've known her since we were 6. Okay. And I'm not saying it needs to be this big shift, but there is like when you've let something go in your body, there is this just like it doesn't have to be this, like, she doesn't need to come out and be all hippie and like, crazy like me, right? But there is just this subtle like let go that I don't see in her. Yes. I don't know her though.
Yeah, prickly. The ghostwriter Sam Lansky has said that he met Claudia. So
I know Jane Doe.
Have no clue, can't figure it out.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a very interesting story. I mean, just we're talking about memories. We're talking about repressed memories, false memories, right? Like all of these things that are pretty hot topics. I think, right, within certain circles, just the debate amongst professionals is whether or not some of these things are real and all that. And then on top of that, now we're talking about memories of the last few years of meeting up with one another. And we're talking about memories going back to this childhood thing. And it's a very interesting case. Oh, I've been calling you Donnie, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think, she mentioned earlier she's on our account, or on her husband's account.
Oh, got it.
Says, I know Jane Doe. I can't figure out Claudia. That's the other thing. It seems like everybody, I mean, it seems like everybody knows Jane and recognized her from the story. But then, like Katie said, at one of the hearings, they said Claudia, according to Amy, is a different person and is an individual.
Right, not an amalgamation.
Not an amalgamation. Yeah, but is a real person who isn't Jane Doe. And it's like, well.
And Jane Doe claims she's Claudia. Yeah, right.
Yeah. But yeah, I want to know who Amy is saying Claudia is. And then I want to know what that person has to say.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it seems like this could be solved pretty easily if Claudia were to come forward.
Right, if that person comes forward.
I mean, the other thing, too, is like, if this was an attempt to sell MDMA,
right,
you would think there would be a number that would make this go away. Like, you could pay out Jane Doe, I'm sure. Maybe not. I mean, maybe she's like, it's the principle of the thing. I told you no, and you used it anyway. And now I will let everybody know who you are and what you've done. Right. Maybe it's something like that where it's like, but it seems like, okay, maybe she did have a false memory. Maybe something did come up under drug use.
I mean,
Fine.
the other thing is maybe she arranged this before the MDMA visit to kind of start from the beginning, right? And say from the beginning she recovered it, and then maybe she lied to people in her personal life that it happened to her.
Right.
And then there wouldn't be a number that could make that go away. Because the issue isn't Jane, the issue is what she's told people in her real life.
Right.
And, you know.
Mimi, I'm not really sure what the heart of her case is yet. I haven't read enough to really I'm still trying to wrap my head around like who these people are and what's going on.
Yeah.
I just think if you did something wrong, it's just try and find a way to make it better. Sometimes that's a public apology, and sometimes that's just money. So if there were offers of exchange of money and that never happened, the story got used, pay somebody. You've got $1 billion. You're not going to miss it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I could see too not wanting to bring the essay to light for a million different reasons, not wanting to, rehash it, just wanting to move forward, not wanting to deal with the accusation against somebody and what comes with that. Oh, Kristen's normally in charge of high school reunions, so you would have a really good idea of like
who this is.
Yeah. Yeah, Rose is wild. Amy's lawyers seem shady and unethical like Blake's lawyers, which makes them look guilty. Bad lawyering will do that. And I mean like bad, like just out for blood, bulldog, right?
Yeah.
Right, that kind of lawyering will do that, where it's like, why are you behaving this way? With Gottlieb, honestly, I think some of that is just Gottlieb.
Yeah, he's similar for Drake. I think
Right.
he's a similar tone and everything.
He made arguments for Drake that I'm like, oh, you couldn't care less about your clients.
Yeah, exactly. Your Honor, my client doesn't think rap music is art.
Yeah,
well, it is Drake. I mean, I guess.
So I don't know.
I think I heard Amy's side say the real Claudia lives in Tennessee. Do you know who of your classmates is in Tennessee? No clue. Only 2 people in Tennessee.
But I didn't go to Austin for this. I'm excited to jump into this one. I'm excited to spend more time watching not actually Golden's videos and talking to her behind the scenes.
It is scratching the itch that I think we had with the Lively case of like, both of you are saying parts of a story and we need like to fill in the timeline. We need to fill in the gaps and what the third parties are saying, like there's fun little side characters, and a lot of it is just putting together the timeline.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I love following a case. I love following a case that I have no stakes in.
Right.
It is so stressful for me to try my own cases. But when it's low stakes like this and I'm just judging somebody else's filings, this is great. This is a good time for me.
Because it's not your lawyer. It's not your writing and all that.
Yeah.
And then also I mean, we're not anywhere near a jury yet. So, but jury credibility is my bag. So,
okay, so Amy's lawyers filed a demurrer. She opposed. Yes. Have they responded to it yet?
Not yet.
Okay. And a demurrer, just so everyone knows, is a so what? Right? Yeah. Taking everything she said is true. So what? There's no legal claim here. Bye,
Thank
Kristen.
You for joining us, Kristen.
Yeah. Thank you for hanging out.
Yes.
There's more to come, so I feel like we'll hang out more.
Yeah, we'll still cover this, and Katie and I are still gonna do stuff behind the scenes.
I can't believe I'm not on that group chat.
No, you're not. You don't get to be. I'm sorry. We'll add you.
Yeah, so there's still more to come. I mean, that's essentially like a motion to dismiss, right?
Yeah.
It's saying this can't be a legal claim, even if it's all true. So we've still got a lot to come. There's still some discovery to do. We will hopefully see the postcard.
I mean, and that's one thing at a time, right? We just need to get this past
Yeah.
to discovery. Like
Yeah.
Nag, I don't know if you saw Not Actually Golden's video today, but she said we just got to get. You just want Amy in the chair.
Yeah.
And right now, Jane Doe has an opportunity to file an answer to the countersuit and say, "All right, let's go." That's what Wayfair did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's just do an answer and let's just get started. So, yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for hanging out with us, everybody.
Yes, we'll continue to cover this, and
we'll continue to cover this. Not much going on in Jones v. Abel or Jed v. Wallace.
Wallace, Lively got an extension for a month.
Wallace.
Jed v. Wallace. Wallace v. Lively. Blake got an extension for a month, so we're not going to hear anything on Wallace v. Lively in the appellate case until August, and we're still waiting for Jed's response to her 47-1 motion.
Mm-hmm.
So,
we'll pop back into Maren Morris when the court makes a decision there.
Yes.
And if anything happens in Drake's appeals take a long time, so I don't anticipate knowing anything in his appeal for a bit.
Yeah. And then at some point we will go over Jones v. Abel from the ground up again, knowing what we know.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And Laura Owens did not take a plea deal.
I didn't think she would, but I did hope that she would, if that makes sense.
I hope for her she will.
Yeah.
So, all right.
All right. Thank you for joining us,
tuned.
guys. We will keep doing videos, and if there's anything in particular you want us to cover, let us know in the comments.
Bye.
Have a good
Thanks for
night,
hanging out, everyone.